It's getting late early when it comes to the class of 2024's chances to increase their stock in prep baseball's rankings. Every game matters. Every at-bat matters. Helium gained, helium lost. I'm Cory McCartney, that's Shooter Hunt, and this is Coffee and Curveballs as we dive into the updated class of 2024 rankings. Shooter, you've got some key risers to dive into, some newcomers as well. Before we get into all that, take me inside the process here when it comes to bodies of work, because you, along with the boots on the ground at prep baseball across the country, have had eyes on these players for years now. What does it take to make a big move nationally this late in the process?
I think later in this process, it starts out right freshman year, sophomore year, you're building with tools. Here's an athletic kid, there's some aggressiveness. He has those tools, there's some metrics there to work with. As you move this late into your career in high school, the results and kind of what you produce becomes a bit more important, to the sense where, hey, this guy is what he is. Now, it's not definite. Guys go off to college, they continue to get better, they go into professional baseball, and they get better. But at this point, over 4 years, it's a good sample size to see, hey, we think this guy has a chance to make a jump in the future to this elite level, but he kind of is where he is. He's a strike thrower, non-strike thrower. He has that electricity. He can hit for power. That power is going to come. Those are some things we're looking for. And especially with regards to pro scouts, they're looking to, again, mitigate that risk. Who are these guys who have made those jumps to make us feel comfortable and cozy and giving them seven-figure bonuses and sending them off to pro ball?
And this is one of the last opportunities that these players have to increase those rankings as we get into draft season and then what comes later.
Absolutely. Guys are coming in, especially from the pro side, hey, getting their early looks. Now they're getting those secondary looks and really deciding who are the ones we want to grab our decision makers, bring them in to see. So that's a lot of stuff from the pro side, but even the college side, there are a lot of these players we're going to talk about have elevated themselves on our radar to the point where we're saying, hey, we think this guy goes to college and has a chance to really burst onto the scene while on campus.
So let's get into some of those key risers. And it's been said that the cream will rise to the top. And when it comes to the cream in Texas, the cream of the crop is becoming Wyatt Sanford. You had a swing breakdown of the progression of the Texas A&M signee over the past 3.5 years. Simplified changes that are a big reason why we're talking about him jumping from 35th to 5th in the class.
Yeah, and you talked about it perfectly. Though over the last 4 years, we've seen why. I love him as a wiry, athletic freshman. He's at the future games, uncommitted. There's so much bounce in his game. Continues to rise throughout. Commits to Texas A&M. Looks the part of an elite shortstop who can really stick there. The frame was something we were really following. Hey, this guy's going to get better. Everybody's going to get stronger. He's going to develop in that frame. Well, that frame has made that jump, which has allowed the power to show even more from the left side. And throughout the summer, he didn't really break out with the results-driven summer. He's done much more of that throughout the spring. And you know he's going to be a plus runner. You know he's going to be a plus defender. Now that the bat's there, what more is there to guess on outside of the fact that this guy has a chance to be an early day one selection?
Yeah, Sanford was penciled in at 22nd in the March version of Prep Baseball Draft HQ mock draft. One of two Texas high school shortstops on that list, along with Theo Gillen. Shooter, we've talked Cash Mayfield before, and for a good reason. Showed up and showed out at the Super 60. The Oklahoma State product has made a massive jump, now setting at 11th in the rankings.
Yeah, I think he went right from the Super 60 and continued to rise. He's got that tunnel vision. He's dead set on showing that he is one of, if not the top arm in this class, which is desperately looking for some pitchers to separate themselves. It's frontline stuff. The fact that he can command the fastball, which is an explosive pitch into the mid, probably tickling upper 90s by the time this gets released. 3-pitch mix. He's going to be a starter. He has a chance to slide into that first round. A little bit older for the class, but not too old when you're really ironing things out with relative historical data. But starter profile, moves really clean, repeats easily, and throws a lot of strikes. It's a good recipe for success.
Well, Elk City has been living near the top of the Prep Baseball Oklahoma Power 25, and Mayfield certainly a big reason why. Shooter, since 2018, the state of New Jersey has produced just 6 high school players picked in the 4th round or higher. The Garden State building a strong case and is seeing some names on the rise, including Super 60 participant Chris Lavonis, fellow right-hander Bryce Message, and infielder Luke Dickerson.
Yeah, again, these are 3 risers from the state. You're looking at Will Kirk, who's one of the top lefties in the class as well, who's a top 50 guy. But Lavonis comes to the Super 60, electrifies. He's dynamic down the mound, up to 98. I actually think his early spring stuff has looked even better.
Hmm.
Less effort, looks a part of a starter. He's still getting those swings and misses. He's a guy I've circled while I'll head to the Garden State and get a chance to see him in the next few weeks. But he's got unteachable stuff. Those metrics, he's going to be able to get swings and misses the more it comes around. If you think he can start, he's going to rise even higher. Message is a kid committed to Virginia. It's super clean. Everything comes out easy. His secondary played more average throughout the summer, but his ability to throw it for strikes is something that helped elevate him. 6'5", about 210. It's a great workhorse frame. Moves really well. Oh yeah, now he's more in that 95 to 97 range. So he's made those jumps that we were talking about at the start of the show, where you're starting to look at a guy like that. Hey, maybe he can jump into the upper echelon of starters in this class. And then Luke Dickerson, who is probably one of my real sleeper favorites. Big time hockey player, so you're not sure how much time he's gotten on the baseball diamond throughout the winter. But shoot, he comes out. The swing looks even better than it did all summer. He's a consummate performer, and nobody is this guy at all. But you're coming from Jersey, you're tough. You play multiple sports, and you're kind of thick and physical. There's easy Mike Trout comparisons where that guy's so physical and he's got that blue collarness to his approach, but the swing really works. I think Luke Dickerson's probably a closet favorite of a lot of area scouts right now. Whether he sticks it in the infield or moves the outfield, his athleticism is going to play, but the dude just gets it done.
I caught up with Lavonis back at Super 60. You talk about the metrics. I just thought the confidence and just the dog mentality they had really stood out as well. Another Super 60 participant that's rising is Virginia-bound Jimmy Nunnally, pushing those exit velos towards 103, and he is sitting in the top 100 nationally.
Yeah, and this is one of those guys where you go through the tools. Oh, is it jumping off the charts? Well, he's not the biggest kid. He's not filling out. He caught for a while. Now he's in the outfield. He can really run. But what can he do? He can hit. Okay, he controls the barrel. He can change planes. It's a flat path. I love the flick that he utilizes from the left side. And when you're pressing in on stuff like this late, hey, is this dude going to hit? Do we think he has a chance to do it because we can develop some other stuff? Yes, I think Jimmy Nunnally has a real chance to hit. Now he's in the outfield. That speed's kind of playing, but the barrel control is something that I loved at the Super 60. We loved last summer. I think he's only gonna get better. And honestly, the Mid-Atlantic, that DMV area, has just produced some absolute dudes in the past, but even so in recent years, especially sleeper guys who have really jumped up the board late.
Yeah, Nunnally can scoot 60 time of 6.8. So this kid can, without a doubt, move. So with the likes of Kason Evans, Braden Bergman, Jason Flores, rising as a right-hander out of Texas is daunting. But Michael Catalano is doing exactly that. The Oklahoma signee made a ridiculous jump to get into the top 100 nationally.
Corey, we will do this yearly. Who's going to be that guy in Texas that rises just because their arms just continue to progress so well? Even from the fall to through the winter into the spring, those guys make jumps. And Catalano at this point, what are we valuing draft wise? Who has a chance to start? Well, Catalano, the Oklahoma commit, has a chance to do it. It's 4 pitches for a strike. He's climbing into the mid 90s, repeats everything with ease. It's just an outstanding profile when you're looking at an arm, and those Texas arms do so well. I'm really rooting for him. I think he's got a chance to continue rising throughout the spring as we get later in the spring as well.
There are some newcomers as well. And let's dive into the arms of the trio of righties. Missouri-bound Ethan Bagwell, Florida Gulf Coast signee Troy Guthrie, and Air Force recruit Kron Smelser.
Yeah, we got some big old right-handers who can throw it hard. Bagwell was almost at the Super 60, really late guy, but jumped up to 97. It's an athletic frame, power arm, committed to Mizzou. It's one of those guys where you can easily see, hey, have you ever heard of this guy? And all of a sudden next year, he's on campus throwing 98, 99 starting on the weekend. So that's a guy we wanted to make sure we got into these rankings because I think he's going to continue to rise. He was probably one of the bigger newcomer risers that we were well aware of over the last few years with some state game performances in the state of Illinois. So he's been outstanding so far this spring. Troy Guthrie, another metrics darling, was a near Super 60 invite, 4 pitches for strike. He's just collecting in zone misses and whiffs. Outstanding metrics, can really pull down, gets that induced vertical break, 3 pitches for strikes. He's the type of FGCU guy who gets on campus and all of a sudden he's starting Sundays and then Saturdays and then Fridays as a freshman. And everybody's asking, where did this guy come from? Well, he's already thrown a no-hitter. He's done a ton of big time stuff. Been tracking him all spring. And then Kron Smelser. Stop me if you've heard this before. Air Force commit, 6'6", 220, big power arm. Have you heard that, Corey? I think Smelser's got a chance to throw really hard, coming from the state of North Carolina. A lot of times you go through the rankings like, oh, the big Power Five names, all these schools, SEC, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, Big 10, Air Force. Oh, well, Air Force is rolling out some dudes, okay? So all these other mid majors, they produce big leaguers, they produce prospects. Looking at Cran Smelser, a guy who's committed to the Air Force, you got to respect what he's doing to go serve the country, but also want him to go play baseball in that environment. So he's got a great makeup. I'm excited to see what he brings to the diamond next year, if not professionally.
Bagwell is topping out at 97 with a changeup that is almost 90. That's just not fair. All
Power
right.
change.
Yeah, crazy. Finally, Alabama outfielder Demarion Terrell on his way to Northwest Florida State College, and Southern Miss-bound catcher Coy Clements, a Future Games alum, as it should be pointed out. Also newcomers to the national rankings.
Yeah, Bub down in Alabama for Thompson High School, off to a big time start. Talking to David Sharp down in the great state of Alabama. The left-handed stroke, the frame, everything plays. There's a power profile. He's really showing the ability to hit throughout the spring, which is probably getting him on some boards, if not getting him off the JUCO next year where he can shine, get those at bats under there. But the profile really stands out just with the athleticism and the power from the left side. And then Clemens is a Southern Miss backstop who can really catch and throw, former Future gamer from the state of Idaho, moved down to Mississippi to better himself. And I think, honestly, you and I have talked about a bunch of Southern Miss commits in the 2024 class who have been outstanding. This is a guy who's going to be catching them potentially next year, if not professionally.
Well, it's getting late, but we are not done yet as the class of 2024 keeps jockeying for position over these final weeks of their prep careers. So keep it locked on the Prep Baseball channels for all the latest updates. Until next time, I'm Cory McCartney, that's Shooter Hunt, and we'll see you at the Diamond.